selection.
With a personality shaped by being an athlete and a background in mainstream sports media, I found that the stories I was most interested in telling were the ones often overlooked, the ones that might not otherwise be told, the ones that show the intangible and not just the highlight reel. The Sports Council is about highlighting the great, the good, the unique, and everything in between in the Pacific Northwest sports world. I'm Jamie Council. Thanks for joining me.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Welcome to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. I'm Jamie Council and doing another studio show with Will Bradley. Will, how's it going?
It's going great. Sports Council studio show. Say that 5 times fast.
Sports
Council studio show.
Sports Council studio show. Sports Council studio show with Will Bradley.
Hi. Thanks for listening to the Sports Council. So excited about baseball season.
I know, going outside, the weather's warm. Other parts of the state, it's not, but here in the Tri-Cities, great weather as summer sports are kicking off. And before getting into that, as I see you have a rooster tail hat that you're wearing right now, the alternate identity of the Tri-City Dust Devils. But where does your fandom lie?
Baseball fandom? The struggling Minnesota Twins, who are on the verge of selling the team.
So a Twins fan.
Twins fan, yeah. Not wearing any Twin stuff, wearing the Rooster Tails hat.
So I know for football, you're Vikings and Minnesota through and through, a fan of the Twins.
Yeah.
Well, here in the Tri-Cities, it's the high A affiliate of the Angels. Used to be low A, but now the Dust Devils, the high A, they just kicked off their season last weekend.
That's right. They played Vancouver last weekend. They're on the road in Eugene right now, and they're coming back, and they're going to play the Everett Aqua Sox next weekend. So it's going to be a great time at Geisa Stadium. You got to go check out the Dust Devils. They have some of the top LA Angels prospects on the team this year.
They have a lot of great talent, and they're 1-2 in their opening weekend against, like you mentioned, playing Vancouver. And Chris Cortez, the Angels' second round 2024 draft selection. So he'll make his debut with Tri-Cities. And it's really fun tracking the players, taking a look that there's some big names and big colleges to go along with the players.
That's right. Also, a couple of other picks. Austin Gordon was a 4th rounder, and Ryan Nicholson, 10th rounder. They're going to be debuting with the Dust Devils this year. Among some of the other great prospects they have, some of the top guys in the pipeline.
And there's some local talent, too. A.J. Block, he starred in Pullman for the Cougs. He's originally in the Kansas City Royals system, so he's back in the Pacific Northwest, and he's from Bellevue, Washington, so over on the west. So back in his home state and back in Eastern Washington, A.J. Block, a former Coug.
Best thing about the Dust Devils is you're not only seeing future major leaguers, you're seeing some current and former major leaguers, too. Victor Medeiros got called up to the big show last year.
He did, and he began his professional career in Tri-Cities in 2022, so it's kind of a homecoming for him.
Exactly. So, these guys are living out their dream. They're trying to get to the majors, or in Victor's case, trying to get back to the majors. Dan Billardello is the manager this year. I remember him when he was a player.
There's a lot of changes. Before we move on from the players, though, Caleb Ketchup was a good player last year, and he's back. He was the Northwest League leading base stealer, stole 62 bases in 2024. And I know he was a big part of the team last year that fans might have enjoyed and back this season. But you mentioned a change in the manager and change in the owners of the Dust Devils as well.
I don't want to say the word conglomerate. There was another word that they used when I talked to them because I'm friends with some of the people of the Dust Devils. But they have an organization that bought the team.
Yes.
But there's still a lot of local infrastructure here in the Tri-Cities. Like with Eric the Peanut Guy. Daryl's still there?
Daryl Ebert is still there, but the ownership does change. So that's Diamond Baseball Holdings. And again, don't want to use the word conglomerate because it makes it feel like it's not going to be the same Dust Devil team. But like you mentioned, Eric the Peanut Guy, Daryl Ebert is still there. we'll see how it affects things, but a lot of things staying the same, although new owners, Diamond Baseball Holdings, the new owners of the Tri-City Dust Devils.
Have you been to a game yet this year?
Not this year.
They have something new. It's called the Plaza. You know how they have those green pillars out front? They have those barricaded off with banners all the way around it, so you can only go in on the side, on the left or right side. And they call it the Plaza now. So a lot of people congregate there. And I know some other local radio stations in town spend time out there, and you can play games, and you can just meet your friends, meet the people you're going to the game with. Before you go into the gates, you buy tickets. The ticket office is right there. So they made a few changes, also remodeling the inside of Geese Stadium.
Yeah,
a lot of improvements.
The remodel is going to be huge for Geese Stadium, and they've only been home for 3 games, again, on the road in Eugene. And I was just coming into town, so unfortunately I did miss opening weekend. But last year I was in the press box all season working the camera for MILB TV. Doug is back doing play-by-play for them. Eric, the peanut guy, is still there. So new owners, a lot of new talent, but the same Tri-City Dust Devils, or as their alternate identity, the Tri-City Rooster Tails or Veneros de Tri-Cities, which is another fun ode to the fun that you have here in the greater Tri-Cities.
And yeah, they're in Eugene right now. Second game of a 6-game series is tonight at 6:35. They got a doubleheader on Saturday too. And then they're playing again on Sunday. They're back here against the Everett Aqua Sox on Tuesday for 6 games.
Yeah, 6 games. They play Tuesday through Sunday. Even if you're not a Tri-City Dust Devils fan, if you're a Mariners fan, the Aqua Sox, the high A affiliate of the Mariners.
So, yeah, you can see the Mariners draft picks. When guys do injury rehab, when major leaguers do injury rehab, and the Mariners are having a lot of injury problems right now. Ryan Bliss, I just found out he just tore his bicep, so he's going to be out for a while. So when these guys are rehabbing their injuries, a lot of times they go down to A-ball to get their groove back. It's actually a great opportunity for the players, too, because if you're facing major league caliber talent, even if they're on injury rehab, they're still major league caliber talent. So it's a way to kind of test to see what your progress is before getting called up to AA, AAA.
So the Tri-City Dust Devils just kicked off their season on April 4th, and they return home on April 15th as the Mariners affiliate Everett Aqua Sox are in town. A big part of summer sports in the Tri-Cities. But
absolutely. The weather's going to be great. DustDevilsBaseball.com. Doug Taylor doing the broadcast. You can also get tickets right there, DustDevilsBaseball.com.
So there we go. Check out the Tri-City Dust Devils. Get tickets and a lot more going on in the Tri-Cities. And we'll be talking about that when we come back. We're talking Tri-City Raceway and boat racing. When we come back, you're listening to the Sports Council in the studio. Jamie Council, Will Bradley here on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
As Choco Mania ends, we welcome spring with our Easter collection, starting April 7th through Easter Sunday, April 20th. Get yours now and bring in spring the sweet way. While in store, ask about adding a dozen originals for just $9.99. Watch the Krispy Kreme app for great deals. We're also booking spring sports fundraisers or fundraisers for any organization. Ask how your business can win a free dozen originals. That's your local Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
Inconveniences can happen at, well, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
You're listening to Jamie Council on the Sports Council.
Welcome back to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. Jamie Council, joined by Will Bradley. And the theme is summer sports in the Tri-Cities.
A lot of them. Lot to do.
A lot to do. Just talked about the Dust Devils in segment 1. And also over the weekend, it was the kickoff to baseball season. It was also the kickoff to racing season. Last week on the Sports Council, we were talking about the Apple Cup and what a picture-perfect way at the Tri-City Raceway over the weekend.
It's beautiful at the Red Mountain Event Center. If you haven't been there, you got to go check it out, especially the Turn 1 Club. It's fantastic. And yeah, they had the 56th running of the Apple Cup last weekend, and they have races all summer long, actually all the way through October and December.
That's what Greg Walden talked about last week, is that it kicks off racing in the Pacific Northwest, and there was great races capped off by a win by Zach Reel, and it's the fastest half-mile track at this side of the Mississippi, is what they say, a tri-oval track. So if you didn't hear the Sports Council last week, you're going to want to listen to it. Learned a lot about racing, what makes the Tri-City Raceway so special. And again, talk about that tri-oval, that you're always going into a turn. So it's tough racing, it's good racing. And like you mentioned, it's just getting started this year in the Tri-Cities.
And by the way, you can listen to that audio from last week where you talked to Greg at Tri-City Raceway anywhere you get your podcasts, or just go to 1340ESPNradio.com and click on the Sports Council. It's all right there. All the audio is right there.
You can listen to every single episode, as a matter of fact.
We showcase local sports here. I mean, we have Seattle sports programming a lot of the time, which a lot of people love the Seattle sports programming, but it's very important to showcase the sports we have right here. We're hyper-local with our sports coverage here at 1340 ESPN, talking about things right here where we live.
And that's the whole point of the show, is grassroots. Even though I do cover things around the state, I want to talk to the actual people that make it happen.
Absolutely.
Rather than, sometimes I do talk to organizers of big events, but I always try to talk to people rather than two people yelling at each other, arguing about, LeBron or Michael Jordan. Not that those aren't good. It's just not what this is about.
That when Alexander Ovechkin broke Gretzky's record, they made it about LeBron on First Take. They did. They said, who's got the better achievement, Ovechkin or LeBron? So they took Alex Ovechkin, they took the hockey, and they made it all about LeBron James and the Lakers.
Wow, and here we are making the Sports Council about LeBron as well.
This is why we're doing local sports. Hey, LeBron James has probably been here at some point.
I mean, a lot of great people have come through the Tri-Cities. I mean,
maybe he flew over here.
Maybe. You never know. You do have the statue Russell Wilson, played for the Tri-City Dust Devils.
Yeah. Russell Wilson played for the Dust Devils. LeBron James probably played against the Sonics. He's been around so long. Probably flew over from Seattle to go to Milwaukee on a road trip.
This is not great reporting right now, but it is a possibility. You are right, but what is not a possibility is that the Tri-City Raceway at the Red Mountain Event Center has a great lineup. It kicked off over the weekend with the 56th running of the Apple Cup, and it's not just race cars. They also, at the event center, they have monster trucks. They have a lot of different types of racing over there, and it's a really fun addition to summer sports, things to do in the Tri-Cities.
Right, they got the hobby stock and the mini stocks on May 24th. That's their next event, called Duel in the Desert.
And then they have Thunder at the Mountain. That's the monster trucks coming up June 20th and 21st. On July 19th, it's the Night of Chaos. A lot of these events, you only hear about the Apple Cup or wrapping up with the Fall Classic, which is on October 4th and 5th. But they just have a lot of fun events going on that's about things that go fast and make loud noises at the Red Mountain Event Center.
That's right. TricItyRaceway.com. You can find out more there. Get tickets. That's TricItyRaceway, all one word.com.
So TricItyRaceway.com. And one final thing about the Tri-City Raceway, those that are into racing, the NASCAR's ARCA series is huge. You're seeing some big names. That comes back to the Tri-Cities. They were there last summer. So you want to make sure to circle August 9th as well as the ARCA West Series. Northwest Mini Stocks and Hobby Stocks return to the Tri-Cities on August 9th.
Plus, there's also the boat racing. Don't forget the Water Follies this summer.
H1 Unlimited returns it to the Tri-Cities, and it's a big year. They celebrate 60 years of racing, and the Tri-City, the Water Follies, they're hosting the APBA Gold Cup. So the Gold Cup is coming to Tri-Cities this year.
So many H1 teams are going to be there. I mean, we got Beacon Electric, Beacon Plumbing, Graham Trucking, Miss Apollo, Miss Goodman Real Estate, Lake Ridge Paving, Unlimited Racing Group. Some of the best hydroplane racers in the country are going to be here.
Yeah, a lot of the big names returning. We have Andrew Tate back with Miss Goodman Real Estate, JMK, J. Michael Kelly, Beacon Electric, Beacon Plumbing is still Corey Peabody, Jamie Nilsson, Jeff Bernard moving into Graham Trucking, Gunnar O'Farrell is back, and Dave Vilwalk back in Miss Apollo. And Vilwalk, when we're talking about Gretzky, he's kind of the Gretzky of boat racing.
Who's the Ovechkin? Who's the one that can pass him?
Oh, man. I mean, a lot of these racers are so young. So you take a look at a lot of times people get out of the sport of racing when they're on top. Vilwalk said, no, I am the sport of boat racing, and has continued. So a lot of people, you'll see them get to the top of their career, and then they step aside to focus on other things. Mm-hmm. So everybody you see, I mean, J. Michael Kelly, Corey Peabody, they've been at it for a while. J. Michael Kelly has had such a great year, a great career, I should say, but all of them relatively young.
It's going to be a great 2 weeks of boat racing here in Washington because you got the Water Follies on the 25th through the 27th. Then the next week, they're going to Seattle for Seafair.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks in Washington, not to mention the testing coming up May 17th. So H1 Unlimited boat testing happens in Tri-Cities every year, and that's happening May 17th. And the first race of the H1 Unlimited series is June 6th through 8th, and that's the Gunnersville Lake Hydro Fest in Alabama.
Then after that, July 4th through the 6th, they're in Madison, Indiana. It's the Madison Regatta. And then at the end of July, that's when they come to the Tri-Cities. Then Seattle. Then San Diego in September after that to finish it up. San Diego Bay Fair.
So things wrap up in San Diego. And talking about Tri-Cities, we have talked about Tri-Cities getting the testing. The Gold Cup is coming to the Water Follies on July 25th through 27th. Tri-Cities is really making a stamp in the H1 Unlimited boat racing world.
I'm looking forward to you covering this in more detail down the road with another Sports Council edition about the races.
We're going to have a lot of coverage coming up, and a few months ago now, time means nothing to me anymore. We did talk to Aaron Stevens, does a lot in not just H1 Unlimited as he is the race director of the Water Follies, but he does a lot with the American Power Boat Association. And there's a lot more boat racing. If you think I like boat racing and it sucks that I can only watch them a couple times a year between spring testing and the Water Follies, they have events on all the time that we don't even hear about. I think it is a very underserved part of the sports world that is boat racing, because coming up in Moses Lake on April 19th and April 20th, it's the 2025 Moses Lake Spring Regatta, and that's going on at Cascade Park, Moses Lake. So
there's in a week and a half.
It's coming up here, a week and a half. So there is a lot of racing in Washington or around the Pacific Northwest that is not H1, and I think that's where you see the next great racers. That's where you see the drivers like J. Michael Kelly, and a lot of the Kelly family actually races in those, that you see the kids, you see the outboards, and it's where you learn to really appreciate the boat racing world.
They're like the Dust Devils of powerboat racing.
Exactly. You hit it on the head there. Exactly.
That's right. Needs more coverage. I'm so glad that we can provide this local coverage for you here on 1340 ESPN. They need more coverage.
They do need more coverage, and
People love the speed
and the sound of the boats and the rooster tails, much like the hat you're wearing now.
I know, that's why I love the hat. It's just such a pretty logo with the boat.
So we talked about the Moses Lake Spring Regatta on April 19th. We'll go over a couple of more races in Washington you might want to circle on your calendar. It's Lake Lawrence Run for the Record, April 26th and 27th in Yelm. And then in Chelan, it's Norm Evans Apple Cup, a different Apple Cup.
Different Apple Cup.
A different Apple Cup.
Third Apple Cup.
It's the third Apple Cup happening May 3rd and May 4th, and it's part of the Apple Blossom Festival around that time. That's big in the Wenatchee area. So that's Lake Chelan on May 3rd. And if you're wondering where I'm getting this information, it's at apba.org. So American Powerboat Association website, apba.org.
Do they let you stream the racing on the website? Do they have broadcast coverage, TV broadcast coverage for these races?
H1 Unlimited does coverage. They actually have a great YouTube channel. So if you're not following H1 Unlimited on YouTube, you should. They do great coverage. Brad Luce is a big part of that coverage, and H1 Unlimited on YouTube is a great place to watch the races, even if you don't physically go to the races, or you watch them in the Tri-Cities, but you want to watch them all season long on YouTube.
Fantastic. We're going to have more coverage about powerboat racing with the Sports Council in future episodes. We're going to transition to frozen water now.
Yeah, frozen water. Hockey season for the Tri-City Americans might be over, but we're going to hear from the other side of hockey, the officiating side. We'll have Max Lucas in studio. When we come back, Will, it's always a pleasure chatting with you.
It's the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN. And no, Max doesn't have a seeing eye dog, just in case you're wondering. Inconveniences can happen at, well, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
As Choco Mania ends, we welcome spring with our Easter collection, starting April 7th through Easter Sunday, April 20th. Get yours now and bring in spring the sweet way. While in store, ask about adding a dozen originals for just $9.99. Watch the Krispy Kreme app for great deals. We're also booking spring sports fundraisers or fundraisers for any organization. Ask how your business can win a free dozen originals. That's your local Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Welcome back to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. We're talking summer sports in the Tri-Cities, and don't often think of hockey as we're joined by Max Lucas, president of the Mid-Columbia Hockey Officials Association. Welcome, Max.
Thank you for having me.
Like I mentioned, you don't normally think of hockey in the summer. Tri-City Americans season just ended, but the ice stays cold for you in the summer.
It does, yeah. Still hockey going on year-round here. Rinks stay up. They do usually take a little bit of a break, do some repairs and stuff, but definitely still have tournaments and a lot of hockey going on.
So you are the president of the MCHOA. Tell me a little bit about your journey to get to this point on the ice.
Yeah, definitely been officiating for a while now. I started at age 10, so that would be putting me at 18 years now on the ice as an official. Came back after college to Tri-Cities and was voted in as president after the past president moved to Michigan. So, yeah, it's been a great journey. It's been exciting to be here.
And you played hockey in college, too.
I did. So I played for Montana Tech in the ACHA Div 2 division, which is just the best hockey out there. So I'm excited to be a part of it and excited to be a part of the community here as well.
Welcome and congratulations on your promotion to being president. And tell me a little bit about the association.
Yeah, it's an association that's been doing really well lately. So COVID was a death sentence to most hockey officials associations. We lost probably around 66% of our membership. People just didn't want to come back to the rink. People didn't want to be in a position where they had to direct people. And it was really hard to continue. We had to do a lot of new initiatives to bring people in. But since then, we've been doing really well. We've been able to add a massive increase to our roster, over a 200% increase. So we're up to about 50 members now from down around 13 members before.
Wow, the pandemic, all officiating took a big hit during that time, hockey included, but you're definitely bouncing back from that time.
Yeah, we're definitely getting back to where we should be. We're definitely getting more talent into the association, and it's given us an opportunity to help our talent even do better. So we're able to mentor our people more, and we're able to get better officials into better places.
So most of the time, us in the stands are just used to booing the stripes, whatever that may be, but they don't see that there is an association, the teamwork going on, all the training. So what exactly does the association provide that puts the best product on the ice for the officials?
Great question. So yeah, on the association side, we have coaches as well. So on our youth games and on our adult games, a lot of times we have people in the stands who have been at a higher level who do the officiating coaching side of it. So they'll be watching the officials after the game. They'll be having a conversation with them. And it's a performance-based industry just like any other. So on the WHL side too, we have coaches who are coming from the NHL. And so those officiating coaches will observe us. Every game is earned. So you're going to get games based on how well you're performing in the games you do. So it's obviously a performance on demand industry, and we're always asked to perform highly, and we always want to do the best we can.
And lately it's been an issue of people, should I say, overstepping with officials. There is a video going around of a parent, I think, shoving an official on the ice here in Washington. How does that affect what you do as president?
Yeah, it was definitely a disturbing video to see, two teenagers assaulted by an adult on the ice is obviously extremely disturbing, and it's hard for parents to watch knowing their kids are going to be in that position. Fishing is a great career path for kids. I know starting at age 10, there was no other place I was going to get a job and make an income. So being able to start that so early was incredible. And being able to put our youth officials particularly in that position to continue that tradition and to do well is important to me. As far as what we're doing, we're definitely working with the associations, working with the parents of those associations to help them understand. A lot of the times, hockey is not a sport that most people come from. So a lot of times, these parents are not only learning hockey, and their kids are learning hockey. So it's hard to kind of make sure that everyone understands that the officials are doing their best, and they're learning alongside too. I mean, a 13-year-old kid has probably only been officiating a few years. So just as your kid might be learning the sport and getting better, this is how our officials train.
And for you officiate at the WHL level, but you have to start somewhere. What are the reasons why people should get into hockey officiating?
Yeah, so it is a great career path. I'm on the ice all the time, especially coming out of COVID. I was on the ice 5 to 6 nights a week. You're getting paid to be out on the ice. So a lot of times hockey is expensive, so an ice time is expensive. So being able to get paid to be out there is just an incredible opportunity. And then, like I said before, with the youth officials, just being able to get a job at such a young age is almost unheard of. So being able to make that income, start being responsible with money, great opportunity for any kid, and parents should be excited about that as well.
I know you're all about your finances as well. And how old do you have to be a hockey official?
So there is no set age. Being 10 years old does help because you do have to be older than the kids you are officiating. So 10 would probably be the minimum, but there is no set age that you have to be.
And coming up this summer, you do have classes starting for hockey officials.
Absolutely. So yeah, classes will always be in the summer. In August is when most of them will start, but you can register this summer and come out to be a hockey official.
So again, we're talking to Max Lucas, president of the Mid-Columbia Hockey Officials Association. And Max, where can people learn about the association? Yeah,
so they should be able to learn online at machoa.com. So it's mchoa.com. But anywhere you talk to in the local association, when you talk to around hockey, we'll be able to direct you to someone. We're on Facebook at Machoa as well.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck on the ice this summer.
Thank you.
Well, that wrap up this week's show of the Sports Council. Thank you for joining me on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. A reminder, the Sports Council happens 4 times a month, 11:30 a.m. on Thursdays. You can listen to the show not just over the airwaves at 11:30 on Thursdays, but also on demand at 1340ESPNradio.com via podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Sports Council, and it's also available via YouTube. So lots of ways to listen to the Sports Council and support our local sports community. Until next time, I'm Jamie Council. Now we go back to your originally scheduled Seattle sports programming.